Welcome to the Health Podcast. I'm Caitlin, the host, and I'm going to be taking you through today's episode with Christo. We're going to be talking about his journey so far, which has been the last 2 weeks into the 30-day reset. He's already transformed his life. He's had monumental different changes that he's made, improvements that he's seen in his health. He's got PRs on his bike, he's sleeping better, he's feeling better. It's really amazing, and I'm excited to talk about it. Enjoy our conversation today. Welcome to the Health Podcast. We are halfway through the challenge already, which is kind of crazy. It's happened like this. So we're very excited to hear from Christo today, one of our collaborators. How is it going? Are you enjoying it? How's the journey been so far?
Yeah, I think it's going well. We've made quite a few of the recipes, but I've not been able to stick to the plan 100%, just because of other life events and things in between. Like for instance, on Saturday we had a wedding and that. But in general, I think it's going quite well. I managed to, for instance, cut sugar out completely. For the first 10 days. So
It's so good. I mean, one question I really wanted to ask you is, you obviously, you have a family, so your wife, kids, everything. How has that been as a whole family experience? Has the whole family jumped on? Was it you kind of first and then them gradually jumping onto the same journey, or how has that gone in the house?
No, they welcomed it that they join in on it. I mean, we just decided we're not going to make separate dinners now, and so we basically just doubled some of the recipes. That's why there's never any leftovers, because we are 4 that eats from it. But no, they were quite glad to, and supportive also. Like Bernice, for instance, made some of one of the dinners.
Yes.
And Jackie went and bought all the weekly shopping stuff. So very supportive, and they joined in on it basically.
Has it been a challenge to stick to something like this, or have you found that you having that structured routine has been quite easy for you to jump onto? Or I know life happens and you doing different things, but how have you found that to be?
It is a challenge, because it's quite a big change, because first of all, I don't normally eat 3 meals on a day.
Okay.
So I mean, there's also a lot of flexibility in the plan with substituting things and whatever, but I must admit it is a bit of a challenge to stick to have all of the meals according to the plan. I wasn't able to do that.
And if you had to compare, it's interesting for me because it is such a diet. It's quite a limited menu. I know we've spoken about it, that the first 2 weeks at least of the plan is quite limited. So it really gets you to stick to basic principles. How have you found, compared to how you used to eat with this now, what is the biggest change? What are the biggest changes that you've seen?
Well, a lot less, I would say, meat. It's more salad oriented, especially red meat. Even though, Janine said we could substitute. So that, and then, for instance, just taking sugar out. So I have some honey, for instance, now rather in my coffee. I did keep on drinking coffee. I know that was an elective. So, and
I think I would have chosen the same.
But at least I'm doing it with honey, and actually tastes very nice. I was quite surprised at how good it is. And so one of the biggest changes is not eating sweets, chocolates and stuff, because I kind of have a bit of a sweet tooth, so I've cut that out. The only exception was on, like I said, on the Alzu. I had some of the stuff at the water points.
Nice.
But other than that, I cut it out.
Yeah. And I'm interested with that because especially cutting out sugar, I think it can be quite a I use this word cautiously, but quite an addictive almost substance that the more you eat of it, the more you want to. How have you found that have you had cravings for sugar? Have your cravings changed? Is there anything interesting that you found?
Yeah, it's interesting that I didn't have that much craving now that I think back on it. I'm not sure exactly why. What is the physiology of that? Or the science behind it? But no, I was able to go through the evenings and because normally in the evenings that's where, and that's even worse is the fact that I eat it before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't had that much cravings. So.
Okay, it's interesting that I'm also an after dinner sweet tooth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is that discipline, and I think as you build on the discipline, it gets easier. And I think the eating plan itself, it has, although it is kind of limited because it is really down to those core principles of the different pillars of what it is to eat healthy. I think it does still provide the sweet, like there is a sweetness to it, even if it is like a salad, the dressings or whatever that is that you put on it, that you make it's more wholesome. I wonder if that's having more nutrient density actually fills that sweet tooth.
Could be.
Yeah.
I'm remembering now that I did actually have some sweets. I was at Belinda and she had some of these pink palikis. So and I remember that was last Monday. So
Okay.
but other than that, I don't recall having any kind of sweet or something.
Yeah.
But no, the cravings were less. I don't know if it's maybe in a mental thing, because I've prepared myself mentally for it.
Yes.
Could be that as well, that I just didn't. And also, I'd stop buying it. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's a big one. If it's not there, you're not going to eat it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was standing there in Checkers and they had a special on Nosh bars, 5 for 55 Rand. And I thought, no, but don't buy it now. Then it's not there, you know. So that's
That's so good. Yeah, then it won't tempt you. Oh, it's so good. And just on the training side of things, have you found that the changing in your eating has influenced your training? How are you feeling recovery-wise on the bike? I know there was a slipstream crit yesterday. How did you feel with that?
Yeah, so in the week, I couldn't notice a big difference. I did feel strong on the normal conditioning. But then yesterday, I almost feel like I'm going to brag now, but...
Brag away.
Yeah. On the crit, I was telling Hein just now that I felt extremely strong.
Really?
Yes. I broke many personal records on the crit, and it was my fastest crit ever. I mean, on one of the laps, I averaged 29 kilometers an hour.
Awesome.
In total, I averaged 26 and a half. So that's my fastest ride ever.
Yeah.
Especially on that distance. Even on my way back home, because I cycled there and back.
Yes.
Just felt strong.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how strong I feel.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a riddle then, that it must be something to do with some of the changes that I've been able to make.
Yeah.
So it's good to feel good,
Yeah.
It's rewarding as well. Yeah.
And that's kind of I find that's the motivation factor, that you put in the discipline, and when you start to see progress, it's all the motivation you need,
Yeah.
Now I can say no to the Nosh bars because I know how I feel without them,
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah.
I think maybe with sugar it's like that I mean, the long-term effect of it in your body, I've heard that people say it causes inflammation and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like knowingly or I'm not aware of any of that happening in my body. I'm not like having any pains or things.
Yes.
But maybe there's a benefit of sugar in the moment when you want to cycle hard or something.
Yeah.
But the long term of it is maybe where it's not good for you. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
A good question that is, I want to know, what have you learned over the last 10 days that you'll take into your life as to build a lifestyle going forward? Whether that's drinking your water, whether that is reducing the amount of sugar you have because you felt a difference up until now. What are those things that you think will become key health points that you won't let go of?
I think the biggest one is the sugar intake, because I have been drinking water for longer than just the health exchange.
Yeah.
And I've also been conditioning, exercising, being active since January. So probably the biggest change and then subsequent benefit of it is reducing the sugar.
Yeah.
So like when I make smoothies, I would add ice cream and things like that. You know? So now, but amazingly, I mean, the one that I made just with yogurt, without any sugar, and I don't even put honey. No, just, the fruit was just sweet enough. So yeah, I would say sugar is the biggest change that I've seen the benefit now.
Yeah.
I hope I trust that I will be able to make that a more permanent change. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think even learning about whole foods is amazing in that, you know, because exactly what you just said is that fruit is sweet enough.
Yeah.
And you don't know that necessarily because we have this narrative that you do need to add, you add this and you add this, you know.
Yeah.
But actually, if you have it with the mindset that I'm going to enjoy it and you taste whole foods for what they are, you realize the quality that it is, you know.
We were able to get a really nice pineapple. I mean, you can smell the pineapple when it's good, you know.
It's delicious.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was so sweet. So instead of mango, I put the pineapple and the berries and a banana, and I didn't even add the stevia that the recipe calls for sweetness. It was just absolutely sweet enough, and I think your taste buds kind of gets used to now less sugar.
Yes.
So maybe now I was just able to taste the fructose in the fruits rather than adding other what do you call it?
Like additive sweeteners. Or,
suiker, sucrose, you know.
Yes. Yeah. That's really good. Really, really interesting. Have you, like, going forward for the next half of this month, do you have anything that you've learned over the last 2 weeks that you're going to take into the next 2 weeks that's going to help you get through? Or do you think that you're kind of on a roll that you feel pretty confident with the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think what I've learned to maybe stick to it a little bit more closely is to do a bit of better planning.
Yes.
When you are not in your normal routine at home, when you're going somewhere else. But some things, well, I'll have to see, you know, like, not that I'm going to like attend a wedding every Saturday, but things like that is a bit disruptive, you know. And I'll see if I can maybe put in some planning to try and stick to the plan more closely.
It's so good that, because I think we can get down on ourselves when we miss it for something, you know, whether it's like lunch and then there's, I don't know what it can be, a birthday in the office and you have a piece of cake or whatever it could be, that you don't then get down on yourself and think that you downward spiral and like, oh, I can't do this or whatever it is, you know. But it is actually, you pick up after that, move on, get right back on track. And it doesn't, you get over that mindset that if you make a mistake, it's detrimental, you know, but it's actually just building blocks of life happens. And so we also make choices to get back on track, to continue in the flow that we've been in, you know, and it keeps, that's a healthy lifestyle, I think, because there's some balance there. I'd also just want to thank you for coming on the podcast again. Really nice just to catch up and touch base with you. We're really enjoying your content and just having a little look-see into what you are doing at home. And I mean, obviously with Bernice and Melissa helping you with that kind of stuff, super cool. But yeah, we're looking forward to the next 15 days. Thank you for joining us in this episode today. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out our social media channels where all the behind the scenes content is happening. Also, if you're not already a Health Exchange member, check out the website. There are amazing membership deals you can get there. See you next time.